everyone, and welcome back to the Joy-Filled Universe podcast. I am your host, Lisa Ryan, and well, I'm just going to let you in on a little secret here. I actually pre-recorded last week's pod because your girl was off on a holiday in Hawaii celebrating her birthday, and I had the best time. And I'm just going to say, I have never really been a big fan of my birthday. Yet, for the past few years, I decided to stop that low vibe feeling and rather celebrate the gift of getting to turn another year older. And so, while counting all of my blessings, I also use this time of year to do my best goal setting that starts with blowing out the candles on my cake. And I take this very, very seriously. And from there, I then dive into creating my vision book and all of the incredible desires that I am launching into the universe while planting the seeds, knowing that what I ask for, I will receive. And I always say this or something better so that the universe has the creative license to blow my mind in all the best, most abundant ways. And so when my birthday celebration adventure was coming to an end at the beautiful Disney Aulani Resort on the island of Oahu. Mind you, this was on my vision board this year. I just want to put that in there. It was on my vision board, people. And it came true. Amen. Thank you, universe. Anyway, needless to say, when it was coming to an end, I was starting to feel very sad that it was over, and sad that I was no longer looking forward to it, and rather now looking back at it as a wonderful memory, yes, but still looking back. And with this, I quickly caught myself because I was not about to undo all of the incredible high vibes that I had absorbed over the past week. I didn't want to get into a down feeling state. I wanted to stay up. So I used this opportunity to start leaning into and focusing upon being the abundant woman that I am. And with this very simple awareness and mind shift and staying focused on gratitude, my boyfriend comes walking into our little living room and he says to me, "Hey, guess what? We have the opportunity to upgrade to first class on our very long flight home. And it's actually pretty inexpensive. What do you think?" And I was like, let's do it. Let's do that. So then not only was I thankful that I could afford the upgrade, but I was all of a sudden looking forward to our journey home while enjoying first class accommodations, which were fabulous, by the way. And then when I got home, I remembered that I had gifts that my friends had sent to me that I still had yet to open. So I got settled in and I was so excited to sit down and read their cards and open their super thoughtful and extra sweet gifts. And these very simple, positive actions, coupled with my deliberate intent to keep my mindset in a good feeling state, really made a huge difference. Because from here, I got busy writing my little thank you notes. I started pulling together some photos and little memory things from my trip that I could put into my vision book. I called some friends, I called my parents, and all of a sudden I just started feeling so full and happy and grateful and truly looking forward to this year being the best year of my life so far. That's my wish. It's going to be the best year of my life thus far. And so rather than focusing on a cloud of gloom about a fabulous vacation that has now come to an end and saying things like, I don't want to go back to my everyday life, or no upgrade, no, let's not do that. I already spent enough money. I can't afford first class. No, I made and will continue to make the conscious choice to lean into being who I am and who I continue to become. I choose to focus on the silver linings, those incredible sparkles that can brighten up any situation. Because guess what? I could not change the fact that my vacation had come to an end, but I absolutely could change how I decided to interpret that situation. And finding the silver linings was the tool that kept me on my high vibe. And now you might be thinking, okay, really, Lisa, an end to a vacation in Hawaii was your dark cloud? Well, in this case, yes, it was, because I don't get to go on many vacations, like actual vacations. And this year, most especially, I have had very little, if any, downtime at all. So the fact that I was able to get away to such a magical place that literally resulted in incredible, joyful days every day without a care in the world for a solid week was pure bliss for me. And the sadness that could have overwhelmed me when it was complete could have been pretty significant, but I chose otherwise. And that is exactly what we are going to talk about today. Those shiny glimmers of hope and joy and encouragement that can show up even when life feels sad or heavy, hard, or just downright unfair. Because let's be honest, challenges and highs and lows in life are inevitable. We most unfortunately cannot control everything that happens to us. But what we can control is how we choose to perceive it. And that choice is a powerful mindset shift that can change everything. And now, really quick here, as humans, we have an ancient survival mechanism that's hardwired within us, and it is solely designed to protect us. And some of you may have heard this referred to as negativity bias. And this is our own tendency to focus more on negative experiences and emotions or information rather than focusing on positive or neutral ones. In other words, bad tends to feel stronger than good. And in essence, the negativity bias can sometimes work against us because it can cause us to dwell on what's wrong, what's missing, or what's broken. Yet, when we have awareness, we can change ourselves drifting into these types of thoughts and feelings, and we can change this negative drift by intentionally looking for a silver lining, or better said, focusing on what's right, what's working, or what's unfolding in our favor, even if it is just a tiny sparkle. We start to train our brains to create new neural pathways so that we look for what is good. And by doing this, good starts to feel much stronger than bad. And now, from a field known as positive psychology, studies have shown that seeing or finding aspects of gratitude, optimism, and reappraisal, which basically means reframing how we interpret an event, it can truly change how our bodies respond, because we are lowering those acidic stress hormones and boosting joy-filled serotonin and dopamine levels instead, which then puts us onto a totally different trajectory. So finding silver linings isn't just about thinking happy thoughts. It's more about shifting our biology to a perspective of joy and expansion. Okay, so I also want to insert a bit of clarity here too. Finding silver linings is not to be made synonymous with toxic positivity, where we tend to hide or mask or suppress true feelings, which would actually make a really great episode to discuss. So I am making a quick note here. Okay, on my notes. All right, so finding silver linings is certainly not toxic positivity, because it does not mean that we are pretending everything's fine when it's not. It's not about numbing ourselves to pain or suppressing our feelings or skipping the healing process and tucking raw feelings deep within us. In fact, acknowledging what hurts is part of the journey. It's part of moving up the emotional scale and navigating then from the catabolic energies into more anabolic energies. And a really easy equation to help us with remembering that is you have to feel it to heal it. And once we have given ourselves the grace to process what's happening, then finding that glimmering shimmer of light is how we start to move through the pain instead of staying stuck within it. The silver lining is basically our anchor, our reminder that something good can still emerge, even from the messiest moments. It might be a lesson, it might be a redirection, or a newfound strength that we didn't even know we had. And this process helps bring us back to our natural emotional state, which is one of my favorite words, joy. And joy is not something we have to chase. It's a vibration, the frequency that we effortlessly and naturally reside in when we remove resistance, we remove fear and self-judgment. And speaking of vibration and frequency, when we choose to see the silver lining, we are not only sending out the vibes we want to attract, we are literally opening up our energetic field. We shift from a frequency of contraction, which is fear and resentment and hopelessness, to one of expansion, which is curiosity and gratitude and possibility. And from that energetic state, something really magical begins to happen. We begin to see around corners. And what I mean by this is we start noticing opportunities and people and synchronicities that were always there, but our energy wasn't tuned into them before. When we are stuck in negativity, our perception narrows. We literally can't see potential solutions or divine alignments because our brain is focused on survival mode. But when we shift our focus towards silver linings, our brain's reticular activating system, remember that part of our brain that filters what we notice, well, it starts to highlight evidence of good things. We start seeing signs. We attract people who match our frequency, and we notice multiple doors of opportunity opening for us. So it's not about pretending everything's perfect. It's about aligning our energy so that we can receive what's already meant for us. And I'm just going to say, long before I was a seeker of light, high vibrational, spiritual being, I always lived in a very optimistic, focus forward kind of life where I felt that when people said the word no to me, it was like a magic potion that just propelled me to yes, as if to say, I'll show you. You don't get to put limits on me. Nah, I'm going to show you because I'm saying yes and I get to control my destiny. And even back in high school, which was too long ago to even count, sad to say. But when I was back in high school, I was voted the class optimist and most class spirit for my senior year, along with being one of 2 women in my junior and my senior class that was selected by the student body as being someone my classmates would feel most comfortable coming to in time of despair or even in time of joy. And we were called natural helpers. And I felt so honored because when I was a junior, it was the first year of the program. And in the second year, my senior year, I was selected again. But in order to give someone else a chance to go, they asked me to attend the second year workshop as a mentor rather than a participant. So anyway, the point being, Finding silver linings has been one of the keys to my successful life, even when I was navigating some of my darker moments. And believe me, I have had some pretty dark moments, far darker than finishing up a Hawaiian vacation. So whether it was health or relationships, jobs, I have lived a life, honey, and your girl knows struggle. And she also knows what it takes to get out of struggle and to live a life of success and abundance, because I always found a way to appreciate what was going right for me. So if you already find silver linings as a natural way of being, awesome. Good for you. If you don't do it, or if you don't do it enough, well, let's start a new habit. And I'm going to share what I typically do or have done when looming clouds feel a bit too dark and need a little sparkle. So I recognize what I can control, and I shift my focus away from what cannot be controlled. Oh, I am the queen when it comes to wanting things to go a certain way. I am a Scorpio. I like to be in control. However, the grief that I have spared myself by simply staying focused on my own actions, my own energy, along with releasing fear and anxiety and my attachment to the outcome, it never fails me. So in any given situation, the one thing we can always control is ourselves. So by staying focused on our own actions, our own energy, and again, releasing fear and attachment to any outcome, we begin to feel more free. And from that freeing feeling, our vibrational frequency shifts as well. And two mantras that I usually fall into when I'm struggling with letting go is I say, thank you, angels, for showing me that the issue has been resolved, and I let go. And the next one is actually displayed on a super cute little plaque that I have had for decades, and it has always hung in my bedrooms from a little girl to college to everywhere I have lived up to this day. And in fact, I think I'm going to go ahead and take a picture of it and post it on my Instagram, which is at Joyfilled Universe, so you all can see it. It actually even has a little silver sparkly lining to it. Oh, okay. So I just want to say what it says here is also one of my other mantras, which is, don't fear tomorrow. God is already there. And between these two mantras, which is, thank you, angels, for showing me that the issue has been resolved, and don't fear tomorrow, God is already there, I just find peace in both of those, because they are reminders to just let go of what I cannot control, including the outcome. Okay, so that's one little technique. Then the other technique is to intentionally pivot, which is similar because it also starts with awareness. So when realizing that we are in a negative space, notice that what we are focusing on is what we don't want, and change to a better feeling thought, because the awareness alone shifts our energy slightly up the emotional scale. So to begin focusing on what we do want, instead of saying things to ourselves like, nothing is working out, change that to, I want to see how things are working out for me. Rather than, I'm not good enough, pivot to, I'm always learning and doing better every day. And even if we are feeling really crappy, you don't have to instantly believe what we are saying. However, by just opening that door a little bit with a good feeling thought, our resistance will begin to soften. And when it does, then we can start stacking small, easy to reach for positive thoughts. Not fake ones here. I mean, real things that we can genuinely appreciate right away. Like, oh, this glass of wine is tasting pretty amazing, or I love that my body lets me breathe so easily. That text from my friend yesterday made me smile. I love that I have a home, food, and clothing to protect me and nourish me and keep me warm during the winter months. And even, how about I appreciate that I am aware enough to shift right now to a better feeling state. And by doing this, I'm telling you what, by doing this for 60 to 90 seconds, that is all it takes to move up the emotional scale from frustration or worry to hope or even contentment, because we are retraining our vibration and changing our frequency through a rapid refocus. And I don't know if you remember, but a while ago in an earlier pod, we talked about a study by Dr. Jill Bolt Taylor, and it was about a 90-second chemical process in our body, which is basically if we don't feed a thought, it naturally metabolizes and leaves our system in about 90 seconds. And just for fun, the timeline would typically unfold like this. So when our amygdala, which is in plain language, our brain's emotional alarm system. Okay, we're going to call it like our brain's little smoke alarm for negativity. So when our amygdala perceives a threat, it signals our hypothalamus, which in plain language is kind of like the control tower that connects our emotions to our physical body. And when it receives the danger or negativity signal from the amygdala, it flips on the body's stress response system so that our adrenal glands just start to release stress hormones. So from 0 to 10 seconds, triggers occur and hormones are released. And then from 10 to 60 seconds, our heart rate increases, blood pressure rises, and our body mobilizes energy. Then from 60 to 90 seconds, our liver and our kidneys begin to break down those hormones like the cortisol and the adrenaline. And after 90 seconds, the acute chemical surge is largely gone, if and only if we stop retriggering the stress response by repeating the negative thoughts and rather pivot to ones that bring us up the emotional scale to a better feeling state. So pivoting can really be powerful and easy to apply because it interrupts the negative thought loop, it activates appreciation, which is one of the quickest ways to raise vibration, and it replaces resistance with self-soothing messaging that is in alignment with our natural flow of joy. And I'm just going to add one last bonus technique here. We can and we should find gratitude when things are not going right for us, because that is the universe's way of showing us that we are out of alignment. So we should be thankful for that because it gives us that clue that's like, hey, maybe this isn't feeling right because we're out of alignment. So find a better path to get back in alignment, because that is also finding silver linings. And in all actuality, these silver linings, they bring us back to who we really are. We are an energetic being designed to thrive in joy. We are meant to feel good, to expand, to grow, and to manifest our dreams. And every challenge is simply an invitation to return to that good feeling state, because even in our darkest times, the light never leaves us. Sometimes it's just waiting to be noticed again. So the next time life tosses something unexpected in our path, let's take a deep breath and focus on what we can control and shift our attention away from what is out of our control. Let's pivot our thoughts onto what is going right, and then start stacking gratitude for small things that we appreciate and are unfolding in our favor, and interrupt the negative thought loop by allowing yourself to focus on good feeling thoughts and emotions for 60 to 90 seconds so that all of those stress hormones metabolize their way out of our bodies. And lastly, life is so short and precious. And I'm just going to really quickly, please indulge me, share one more story. I got a new work cell phone a little bit ago, and for some reason my contacts, they doubled and tripled. So I had to go onto the cloud website to clean up my contact storage. Well, going through this list became kind of difficult because I was seeing names of people who I had met over the past 20 plus years. And some of those folks have since passed away just way too young, perhaps had a life-altering experience and now are navigating their lives in a more restricted capacity. Some had retired or left long ago, and I no longer see or hear from them. And some have even recently just resigned and moved far away to begin a new life. And all of this, it just felt kind of surreal to me because it reminded me that life can change so quickly, and it can also just race right past us if we let it. So we have to get out there and live our best lives every day. And even when things seem glum, find the joy, because by doing this, we shift our energy and we choose to intentionally live on a joyful frequency. And by doing this, we attract abundance of all things that serve our highest good in our lives. And I get it. It is not always easy, but when we make it a habit, it will change your life. And before I close here, I am going to give a nod to a poet named John Milton. His poem is named A Masque Presented at Ludlow Castle, and it was written in 1634. And I believe that this is where the phrase, "every cloud has a silver lining," is from. And the original line goes like this: "Was I deceived, or did a sable cloud turn forth her silver lining on the night?" Yeah, so let that sink in and find those silver linings. Find joy in every moment of every day. That is my wish for you, and it is also my wish for me too. And that's a wrap for this week. I hope that you enjoyed today's episode and found it to be helpful. And if you did, please be my silver lining and take a moment to rate, follow, share it with a friend, and even tag me on Instagram. All of this really helps me out, and I'm always super grateful for your support. So thank you. And on that note, I am your host, Lisa Ryan. This is the Joy-Filled Universe podcast, where we explore all the tools and tricks that are going to make your universe even more joyful than it already is. And I will see you next week. Bye.